Why does streetwear suck right now? This is a question that I've been asking myself for a while, and I've just now come to a little bit of an epiphany about it, so I thought I would share. But before I get into that, who the fuck am I? My name is Lowell Stevens. I am the founder and creative director of a brand called Minimum, which is a gothic streetwear brand. There's another clothing brand in Sweden named Minimum, so a lot of my stuff, Minimum Textiles. I don't really care. Eventually, either I'm going to buy them or they're going to buy me, so it doesn't really matter. But my brand Minimum has been making waves in the underground community, mostly the alt community, simply because goth clothing kind of sucks donkey balls right now, in terms of it mostly being polyester trash, or in the case of brands like Dolls Kill, they just suck in general. So first of all, what is going on? So these are 3 different brands, believe it or not, that I pulled off of TikTok. I'm not going to tell you the name because I am not trying to dox or mock anybody, but I will say the average cost for these was close to what streetwear was costing, like 5 or 6 years ago. We've got on the left that t-shirt costs $45. The middle, that's a $55 hoodie. I guess that's the brand on the front. And then the third one, that is not the brand on the front, just in case you Google it. And that was $100 zip up. In my opinion, I think that Atlanta streetwear has caused a huge problem in the community, as far as a lot of it being more or less a grift, and they're trying to all market in the same way, which I'm going to get into in just a minute. But luxury streetwear is suffering from the same issues as well. These are 3 brands obviously everybody knows. We've got Palm Angels on the left. I went with a black item from every brand that I talk about, simply because I think that it's a great way to represent kind of a unanimity between these, or equanimity, I guess, between different brands. Anyway, Palm Angels t-shirt on the left. It's just a standard fucking t-shirt, $500. Represent in the middle with a reasonably priced, like $150 hoodie. And then you've got Off-White, of course, with their Off-White prices, beating the name of Virgil Abloh into glue. And you were kind of seeing the same thing, right? It's samey. Of course, these are all some kind of gray background. It's just concrete. Here it's light box. But what's the difference between a $500 brand and, say, a $50 brand? And one of the problems right now is this. It's everyone's fucking Pinterest mood board. Everybody wants the G-Wagon. They all want the money, and they want the girl lounging in their luxury hotel. And they can all pretend that they're, the modern day Don Draper. But besides money, what is the issue that's going on with streetwear right now? And I think the issue right now with streetwear is that brands are primarily outwardly focused. So here's the deal. When you buy a Palm Angels shirt or an Off-White hoodie, you are trying to signal to everyone that you have the money to buy it, you have the taste to recognize that it's worth that money, and then you have the ability to put it into an outfit, right? It's everything about those brands is about how other people perceive you. Now, I realize that it might be a little bit strange to say this, but to an extent, fashion has become so outwardly focused, we're forgetting the primary senses that we use to consume fashion, in a way, our touch and our own experience wearing the clothing. How do we feel in it? How does it feel on us? Does it complement our body and our shape and our curves and our bumps and our whatever? And that's been sort of lost in streetwear, where it's become very much self-conscious. The outward focused experience has reached a tipping point, however, where people are primarily focused on, the outward, to the point where now there's a huge cultural backlash against that. Everyone is moving sort of away from this. This is where we're getting, terms and trends like bed rotting, or people just putting on pajamas every day. And then you've got the hardcore fashion bros who are spending $1,500 on Chrome Hearts and Rick Owens telling you that you're trash for not dressing up. There is a middle ground, and I think there is a middle ground in luxury clothing as well, and it is something that I've been calling inward luxury. So this is the solution. It's something that you can call new luxe. I think that new luxe is a little bit better than inward luxury, just because I and some other people that I'm going to show you in a minute, I think are at the forefront of what constitutes new luxe. And new luxe is an experience that is inwardly focused. It is self-referential. It is primarily selfish in many ways. And in the design sense, it's solipsistic. You are saying to yourself and to others around you, you don't care what they think about the clothing that you wear. You don't care about the way that you're going to wear it or the way that you're perceived wearing it. And you don't care if they understand the clothing that you're wearing. All you care about is the fact that you enjoy the clothing that you put on your body. You think you look good in the clothing you put on your body, and everyone else can go fuck themselves. So luxury streetwear or new luxe in general, it has to be about the experience of the consumer, both in opening it, in being part of that community, and in wearing those clothes, which is why I have focused so heavily on that in Minimum. For example, I just spent several $100s getting linen bags with a chandelier printed on them for the fall drop. So every single item is going to come in a black linen bag with a white chandelier printed on the front. Why? Why am I spending this much money? They already have the plastic bag that the item comes in, and they have the biodegradable poly mailer. What is the point of spending more money on a linen bag? Well, it's the same reason that Hermes spends money on their linen drawstring bags, right? It is there to create an experience for unboxing. It's why I put in stickers, but everyone does stickers, but that's why in many drops I will also do things like extra necklaces or keychains or tarot card trinkets. I want there to feel like you're opening a treasure. So these are the things that I've done. This is self-reference. Now, I talked about this just a minute ago, where I said that fashion in new luxe is immediately self-referential, and it's a little bit solipsistic. So these are 3 items from my current drop that's ending on Friday, and all 3 of these are referencing something. The first is the Fortune Teller tee. This is referencing the fortune teller and the gypsy from The Wizard of Oz. You remember she goes into that gypsy caravan, and he whisks the velvet off the crystal ball and kind of gives her this experience where he's reading her fortune, right? On the front, I've got a hand with a devil tarot card, which is cool. On the back, obviously, we've got the fortune teller illustration. And if you like The Wizard of Oz, you'll immediately be drawn to this. If you just like fortune tellers in general, or that whole vibe, then you're going to be drawn to this t-shirt. And if you don't, you won't, right? And that's okay. The second is actually another reference to sort of a fantasy movie, which is the Minimum logo here along the collar, but it's also from Frollo's necklace in Hunchback of Notre Dame. I used the Cardinal's necklace and the way it hung on the shoulders as a reference for how the logo was supposed to hang on the hoodie. And then the third is the actual Old Gothic language, and it says, "Devil take you," or basically go to hell in Old Gothic. This is referencing a lot of things. Obviously, the literal Gothic civilization from back in the 1400s and 1500s in both Eastern and, well, actually farther back than that, 400s and 500s in Eastern and Western Europe. But then also Gothic architecture and, then the Goth movement in the 70s and 80s, all of that kind of binding together. And now this shirt, when you wear it, you don't give a fuck if someone sees that and likes it or understands it, right? The point of that shirt is that you like what it means and you want to wear it. The 2 flowers on there roses and chrysanthemums are both flowers used in death rituals. But the point is that this is the same kind of thought that goes into tattoos, which is a big part of my brand. I love tattoos. A lot of my customers love tattoos. And for a lot of people, every tattoo has meaning, and it has a secret meaning. Oh, this clock is for the time that my mom was born. This dagger is for my brother who was a knife swallower in the circus, whatever, right? Everything has a meaning in tattoos. I love, tattoo culture is very heavily intertwined with alt culture. So everything in each piece should have some sort of meaning intertwined. Same thing here for these shirts. This is the death. This was a Death's Head Moth t-shirt. The front has a Death's Head Moth on it, but the back is Mort la Nuit, which is Death of the Night. It's the first two lines of a French sonnet about the death of the night. Again, it doesn't matter if this is understandable to people, right? This shirt doesn't ask if the person behind you can read French or knows that this is the shape of the moon, or understands that, a French sonnet is primarily about death and yearning, and that is a very gothic theme. Same thing here. This is more of a funny shirt. It's a joke. This is an illustration from an old anatomy manual. That's why it says the skeleton of the back, figure 38. And it's funny because this is on the back of the shirt. So when you're wearing it, the back of the skeleton is also your back. Again, self-referential. And then this is a shirt that is going to be coming out. I'm wearing it right now. This shirt's going to be coming out in October. And it's got, this is Vlad the Impaler from an old book about Vlad the Impaler. It's an old German book. Might be changing the design slightly, but anyway, when you're wearing this shirt, you're not going to care if people know who that is. Now, the people who do will click with you, and they'll walk up to you and say, "Whoa, I love your Dracula shirt. It's so cool. I love Vlad the Impaler. It's neat," right? But the people who don't won't know, and that kind of gives you this inner luxury, this cliquishness, this self-referential, solipsistic joke that you are keeping to yourself. You are a person who contains multitudes. And that is the crux of New Lux. Now, what are some brands I think that are doing New Lux very well? Here's three of them. Now, Fear of God, they have done something a little bit different than the other two brands on here. Fear of God is primarily concerned with material upgrades. They're not necessarily concerned with the graphics or how something is done, like how it looks, kind of, the things that have been added to a blank. They have brand new patterns that you won't see anywhere else. They have brand new fabrics that you won't see anywhere else. And Jerry Lorenzo's done a fantastic job kind of creating this culture of supremely uninhibited hedonism, right? All he wants to do is create the best version of something that you would wear. And so in this case, he takes what is, a standard piece of every brand, a black hoodie, and elevates it with a new, you've got the kind of like the puffy, cloudy feel to it. The way that the ribs and the cuffs are just, super, they're just the single elastic band. It's not an actual broad band. And the way it's kind of like tucked in and tapered at the bottom. Like for him, it's more that self-reference is Jerry Lorenzo designed this for me. It is not necessarily, this is going to be so unique and referential for everyone else. A second brand I think is doing really well is MXDVS. This is a Belgian brand. I love everything they're doing. I love everything that they have on their website. They're pretty expensive. They're not Fear of God expensive, but they're expensive. I think this crane hook hoodie is like $250. And it's cool. They're very industrial, very much around kind of like a Berghain feel. Like they've got the motorcycle vibes and going through their whole brand. It's very much automotive racing. This whole brand, MXDVS, feels like what it would be to be a lower paid worker on the back paddock of an F1 team. right? Sitting here in this hoodie, smoking a cigarette, waiting for the F1 guys to tell you to haul off the old used tires to the dump. Okay. That's the essence of MXDVS, and they've done it very beautifully. The third brand is Somar. Now, Somar is what I would consider to be trad goth elevated streetwear. It's a little bit different from Minimum, which I'm taking in sort of an art goth direction. But Somar has done a fantastic job both on their website, the way that they have put together their mood boards on the website, and they are trying to elevate their pieces in a different way, right? So in this case, you've got a denim hoodie, the embroidery on the top hood here, and I mean, like that's another thing, right? When you put this hood down, the logo is upside down because you don't give a fuck if someone can read the logo. When you put the hood up, no one's going to read the logo on the hood anyway, right? So it doesn't matter. The same thing with MXDVS. There's no real the logo on MXDVS is super small here, right? The logo on Essentials super small. It's because these brands are moving to a point where they don't give a shit if you know what brand they are. What you'll notice and what you'll recognize about the brand is the way that it is worn by the person who wears it. The kind of people who are attracted to that brand wear that brand, right? And so Somar, they've done a fantastic job on their website. They've got like a running CCTV feed, which is pretty cool. They've got this whole like mood board. They've got a music playlist. They have created a brand experience. So anyway, that's my basic walkthrough of New Lux and kind of what I'm doing here. If you are interested at all in checking out Minimum, I recommend you do. I'd love it. Right now, the current drop is ending on the 9th, and I won't have new items until like October or whatever. And if you thought this was interesting, feel free to comment down below, subscribe, or reach out via email. So thank you.